Toby takes the road. It was a cool, crisp morning on the island of Sodor. Toby was on his way to the mill to collect trucks of flour for the bakeries across the branch line. When Toby backed down onto the trucks, he found Terrence standing nearby.
"Hello, Toby. Lovely day, isn't it?"
Greeted Terrence.
"Indeed it is,"
answered Toby.
"It's a pity you are only restricted to your rails,"
added Terrence.
"What do you mean?"
frowned Toby.
"My owner says I'm adaptable. I can go anywhere. Take my advice, scrap your rails and broaden your outlook like me."
"I'm happy travelling on rails, thank you,"
huffed Toby.
"You know, steam engines once did travel by road and ploughed fields."
Toby then remembered Trevor and had to admit Terrence was right. Later that day, he met Thomas and told him what Terrence had said. "He's just pulling your wheels," said Thomas. "He does that to me all the time." And with a cheerful whistle, Thomas puffed out of the junction with Annie and Cloudabelle. But that night, freezing rain swept the branch line. Thomas, Percy and Toby listened as the rain and hail pelted the shed roof. By the next day, the rain had stopped, but the rails were icy and made it difficult to work. The yard manager came to see Toby.
"You are needed back up at the quarry to help with a special order of slate."
"Yes, sir," said Toby.
"Brr,"
shivered Toby as he puffed out of the shed, but his fire kept him warm. When he reached the quarry, Toby puffed happily to and fro, arranging trucks into their proper places. Later, when the work was done, Toby's crew were preparing to take him back to the shed. The cold weather had once again begun to pick up, and driver and fireman did their best to keep themselves warm by rubbing their hands on Toby's fire.
"Come on, old chap. You've done fine work today. Let's get you back to the shed for a long drink and a rest."
The cold weather and icy rain had swollen the rails at the level crossing, which would be dangerous for any engine crossing it. But Toby didn't know this. He was returning the light engine to the yard and didn't have to worry about trucks being troublesome. But when he reached the crossing, it happened.
"Oh, what's happening?"
exclaimed Toby as he felt his wheels come off the rails at the curved level crossing. Toby stopped with all 6 wheels firmly on the road.
"Oh no! Now what do we do?"
fretted Toby. The driver and fireman climbed down from the cab.
"It's no problem. If we are careful, we can have you back on the rails in no time."
"I don't see how,"
said Toby sadly. Toby's wheels had created grooves in the road. So, directed by the fireman, the driver backed Toby carefully back onto the rails. Then the crew spread hot cinders on the rails to melt the ice. And Toby puffed carefully home. That evening, the Fat Controller came to see him.
"What's this here, Toby?"
said the Fat Controller.
"Trying to be a traction engine, were you?"
Toby blushed, but to his surprise, the Fat Controller wasn't cross.
"You'll best leave the roads for what they are made for, and stick it with your rails. You will find it's much comfortable for a tram engine like you."
With that, Toby the tram engine had to agree.